Awesome. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Masterminds on a Mission. My name is CJ Sanchez. I'm the Vice President here for the Mission Chamber, and I have my co-host with me, Ms. Giselle Maceras Villarreal of the Bold Institute, and also a board member for the JMCC. And we are super excited for today's episode. We've got State Rep Sergio Munoz Jr. with us, and Giselle and I have been looking forward to this for a while now. So we're excited, and we thank you guys for tuning in today. We're going to dive right into it. I'm going to turn it over to Giselle, and she's going to get the ball rolling. All the fun stuff to keep this conversation fun and
Yes, he likes to throw it over to me because I do have a bazillion questions, but I promise they won't be hard ones, okay?
Okay.
So I first
If,
thought
if they are hard questions, difficult ones, I'll say, you know what, technical difficulties. And
I don't hear you.
internet's acting funny.
that's our internet issue. So you know what, then I come back and.
You just like boop, come off.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I promise. But what I want to do is maybe a lot of people in our district, maybe a lot of people that are our members, small business members, don't actually know you. They've seen your sign or they've seen, you. I mean, because you've been a state rep, you've been in our district for a while now. Like how long? How long have you been?
My first session was 2011, so this is my sixth session.
Wow.
Representing 36. So.
Oh my gosh! Well, you look exactly the same.
Well, that's good. I think I let my hair grow so I could cover my white hair a little bit more. But
oh no, I love it because you still have a baby face, so that's awesome. Like let the white hair.
I don't want to bring out the first picture from when I first started because then you really see a big difference. But no, I've had.
Now you have to.
I'm gonna find one right here at the office and bring it.
Okay, we brought it for you. We're gonna pop it on.
Yeah, you have to.
No, I've had the honor of representing District 36 since my first session in 2011, and it gets all our parts of the cities of Palmview, Mission, Granjeno, McAllen, FAR, and Hidalgo. Initially, I went all the way to Penitas, actually, my first session, and then after redistricting, my district got a little bit, a little bit not smaller, but I guess because of the lines they changed, and now I started in Palmview, going all the way to I Road. But no, I mean I've just been blessed and honored to be in the position that I'm in, and obviously for me, I always feel that each and every one of us has something that we contribute, right? That we can contribute to the good of the community and the place that we live in, and I'm just hoping to do that as best as I can, and continue to work not only for the people of the district, but really at the end of the day, whatever we can do to make our state better for ourselves and for our future.
Well, I love telling people how approachable you are because a lot of people who may not know you, and somehow if you come up in conversation, I promise it's always good. I always tell them like how approachable you are. Like if people have a question, I always tell them that I really, really encourage them to send a message to your office, send a message to, the public communication methods, because you actually are very attentive to that. Like you are very communicative. You've always been. I know that there have been times where I send you a text and yes, I know his cell, but doesn't mean I'm going to give it to anybody. But and it's very rare, but you've always been really, really, just really approachable. And I want to thank you for that because sometimes it's hard to get our, leaders on the phone because you're busy, right? Or sometimes it's hard to communicate. But you've always been somebody who has, you or your office has always been very, very communicative. So thank you for that. But I have some fun questions first to start off with. One is, what is the best thing? Like, what do you love the most about being our state rep?
The thing that I love the most is actually being able to help people. Whether it's on the constituent side, people that come to our district office. Right now when we're in session and we have people that send us information or they contact us here. I mean, I really do feel that the best thing is trying to help somebody, right? And, unfortunately, nowadays in the political world, sometimes, when something bad happens, you get all the negative press, right? But when you do good things, sometimes it never gets, the word never gets out, and, maybe you don't get as much attention as you should. But I think just deep down inside, if you feel that you were able to help somebody, even if it's the smallest thing, but for them it could have been the biggest. I think to me is like the most rewarding and the best thing, right? Because you really feel like you're contributing your piece, right, and your part to the greater good of all. And I know at times it sounds a little idealistic, right? And about
Not.
things, but I really do feel that, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have that in us that if we feel like we've contributed something and we see something come to fruition and we see something out there in our community, we're like, you know what? I mean, we really are, doing something in a positive way in the right direction. So I would say that's the best thing about it, being able to do that. And a lot of times maybe we can help, but maybe we can at least put them in contact with somebody that can help. Sometimes we get people that ask us questions on the federal side, and thinking that even though we're working with the state, so we try to work with the congressman's office and put them in contact with them, but at least try to help them through the process. So I would say that would be the best thing I love the most. I mean, and I enjoy.
Would I be putting you on the spot if I asked you to share a couple of your maybe some of the latest things that you're right, probably don't get enough press, but if people knew that this opportunity or this access was there, that it would actually change more lives or anything actually.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of people, for example, that come to our district office or that will call us and they say, look, I'm just trying to get an information through a state agency, right? Where do I start, or who do I talk to? Or, and unfortunately, right, a government sometimes doesn't work as efficient as we want it to, right? On any level. So I think for us, if we're able to sometimes cut the red tape or maybe just kind of get them the answer quicker than later, that's also helpful too. So it's a lot of those things that, like I said, I mean, on a grander scale, right? If you look around and we say, well, what can we do for our community? If you look at UTRGV, if you look at South Texas College, if you look at roads, at drainage, at everything else, you're saying, well, these are all things that have been years in the making. But even on a daily basis, sometimes, like even if it's just that contact or just, I also find it that, a lot of times people just appreciate you being willing to hear them and to listen to their concerns. I wish at times, right, we could do more, or we could maybe have a better answer, and unfortunately we can't. But I think that in itself too is also important, because I think people want to, feel like their concerns are being addressed or being listened to, and we try to do that too as well.
I'm glad you bring that up, because I think that would probably be, in my opinion, I mean, even on the chamber level, we get so many different inquiries about things, and I can't imagine on your level the amount of inquiries or questions or things or problems people expect you to solve or think that you will solve just by them making a phone call. Because as a majority, as constituents or individuals, we all think our issues are pressing, right? And when I can't, and not that they're not, but when we're all thinking that, and there's like one office that represents us, you're going to get the influx of all those like press.
No, and I mean, that's why I said I think a lot of times just giving people the time, and doing everything you can, even if you get to the point you say, you know what, I can't help you, but maybe I can put you in contact with somebody that can. But everybody deserves the same attention and respect, right? And I think that's something that we continue to work on, right? But I mean, we're not perfect, but we try to do our best, and it's always an ongoing process. But I think that's very important. Like you say, even from the chamber side, right? A lot of times they come and will ask you for questions and say, okay, well, you know what? Maybe just guide me in the right direction, or tell me where to start, or what do I need to do. And even with that, it's a big help for them.
I agree with you. So and it resonates, and I can just imagine. I like, again, to reiterate, just imagine the amount of inquiries and phone calls and questions and requests that you guys get. So, like you said, I think just giving people the respect to get some sort of response back goes a long way, even if it doesn't seem like it. Those that are listening to this right now probably don't realize the importance of that, but it really is important. So my hat's off to you for making that a priority for you and your office.
And I just want to mention too, a lot of times when we try to help people with, issues with state agencies and such, a lot of times even we remind, people that work for the state, right, that at the end, they're here to work for the people, right? And the access and everything is also important. And, they have to keep that in mind too, because they're also representatives of the state, regardless of what state agency we're dealing with. but they also are here to provide a service, right? I mean, because people are looking to them also for guidance and for direction, and they have to be, not that they have to be reminded, right? But we also have to make sure that they understand, right? That just like we're doing a service, so are they, in trying to help our constituents.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to like ask you, what are the hot topics that you're on the floor fighting for right now? Like, what are some of your issues? Like, what are some of the things that you are fighting for right now for us?
But one of the biggest things that we're going to have actually next week on the House floor is going to be the state budget, for the next 2 years. And one of the state budget overall, are like anything else, right? Based on priorities, like we would do within our own budget. But the first thing that we have to preserve and protect, right, are all for all of our institutions that we have, whether it's education,
Mhm.
whether it's healthcare, whether it's infrastructure, and in the grand scheme of things as well, look at what proposals are there, right, to continue to make Texas a business-friendly state, right? Because just as we want to have a sound educational system, from education, elementary, junior high, high school, post-secondary, right? We also want to make sure that we have a friendly business environment where people can continue to invest and work on here, and build their business here in the state of Texas to create jobs and employment. So one of the big things that we'll have next week will be the overall state budget and what their priorities are in terms of maintaining funding for education, for healthcare, for critical infrastructure. And aside from that, right, working with the Senate as well to make sure that both that our priorities from both chambers align, so that we can, in my opinion, right, invest more in the people of the state. In addition to that, we always work heavily on job training and creation, right? Which is a lot of times, we've seen that over the years in trying to partner with our university or with our college, so they can partner with business and then create programs that actually generate more interest among our community or among our students, right? I mean, when I was in high school, they always would tell us, look, if you don't go to a four-year university, right? I mean, that's your only option.
Mhm.
And, that was all that was said. And times have changed drastically that now, we just want to encourage people, one, to highlight whatever skill they have, even if it's a technical, they want to go into manufacturing or whatever it is that's going to highlight what's going to be good for them, but to do it at an earlier time, so that way they can do it and get those high paying jobs right after high school, even if they're getting a 2-year associate's or a technical degree. If you want to do the 4-year route, great, that's great too, right? But it's just, I think the communication is key, and that's where we've worked over the years to just try to get more of the people involved, like at the early high school level, so that way people can make that determination. And I don't want to age myself and say when I was in, I'm saying, right, when I was in high school, or when I was but even for me, when I was in high school, that was 21 years ago. So I mean, when I graduated from high school, how scary is that to think,
But things change so fast now. Like this conversation in 2 years may have to take a whole new shift because of, and you said it, the way that we communicate is what's shifting so quickly. And I think this is my opinion, of course, but that's why this is a casual atmosphere, is that I don't feel like our education system is shifting as quickly. Because if it was, we'd be paying attention more to, the communicate emotional intelligence. We'd be showing people more about social media and how to communicate effectively to grow our influence and grow our business. I just feel like you can learn that now in high school. You don't have to wait, to figure that out in the real world.
And
They
there's
don't teach
also
that in college.
and also just the access to information is a lot. There's a lot more available now, and I mean, it's like technology, right? I mean, every day it's advancing. I mean, you buy a computer today, and in a month it's already obsolete, right? Because they came out with. So it's kind of like the cell phone, right? I mean, you buy the iPhone or whatever, and then 6 months later it's like it purposely starts acting up so they can force you to buy the new one. But that's enough.
And after this past year, that's how more, our needs for faster technology or capabilities, and especially I can't imagine that's another aspect of things, in your line of work, and I'm sure the way you've done everything, just like the rest of us, has completely changed. And in one of the things I was telling you off camera is that you guys you have to adapt, because the minute that something changes for us, we want answers, right? And who do we go to when we need to know what's what, and how to move forward. And you guys are adapting to do the same thing at that.
I mean, not only, for example, what we're doing right now, but I mean, if you just take this legislative session in general, right? I mean, Giselle, you've been here before, right? Where all the meetings were, in person, and you would go to the offices. This whole pandemic has changed the way we do things. So, we're doing Zooms, we're doing things, and it's just a matter of adapting with the times, right? But still getting the work done. Like you mentioned, the issue with social media, right? I mean, um, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right? I mean, we had it. Was it as influential in certain cases as it is now, right? I mean, you have a lot more people that follow it, a lot more people that are involved. We get questions as well through there. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just like you all mentioned, right? It's adapting to the times, and adapting to even to the environment that we live in, which kind of coincides with education and jobs and everything, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's the technology jobs that were not there 3 or 4 years ago. Now, I mean, you know, you have a lot of people now that actually invest a lot more, right, in social media promotion and getting your message
And
out, because
learning.
that's the medium where a lot of people now are getting their information.
Absolutely.
And
Uh,
maybe,
they
yeah,
can't see
listeners,
you. They
maybe.
can't see you in person, but they're saying, okay, well, you know what? Let me check their social media. What did they post? What update or what? And
How are
you
they
know,
doing?
how
I
are they?
love that
What
you
they
said
doing?
that because that is absolutely how people are getting their information. So, like, if they wanted to know about, in our area, like, they wanted to know something about your district, they would first go to you
Yeah.
and they would see what kind of updates, what's happening. Has it given us an update?
Right, and it's instant. Like it's automatic. It's right then and there. Yeah, like you
Go to
say.
your
So
Twitter.
yeah.
What's happening today. Yeah, and so talking about that, how do you use social media?
Well, I would say I think it's still a learning progress, right? For us, I mean, we try to stay as up to date as we can on our Facebook page, and try to our email address, and make sure people have our information. Like you mentioned earlier, right? Kind of the hybrid meeting that you're going to have, right? It's kind of, I think, the hybrid that we still have in terms of communication, because we still have uh, a percentage of the population that communicates with us, right? By regular, landline, telephone, or I mean, even some people say, emails, right? Who does emails anymore, right? Or I'll just but
Emails are important.
so I think for us, it's just, yeah, I mean, just trying to see what works. And uh, the only thing I would say, right, is that the downside to some of this is losing that personal contact, right? And I think it's kind of, when I think my mom gets mad at me for texting her instead of calling her, right?
Yeah, but some form of connection is better than no
Yeah,
connection.
so she's like, why don't you just call me instead of, and you're like, okay, well, but things like that we still have are still working with, but I think overall, like anything else, right, the more information you have, the better it is, whether it's good or bad. But I think as long as the general public is informed and they find a way to communicate with you, then I think that's good for everybody.
Um, if I proposed that the chamber did like a quarterly check-in with our state reps and our senators, would that be something you'd be interested in, where it was like an ongoing quarterly, like just checking in, this is what's going on, this is what's happened, kind of, so people could get to know you more? Like, I've always envisioned that for social media with our leaders, and so now I'm just putting you on the spot.
No, definitely. No, definitely. And I think that would be also very helpful, right? Because I think if we make it more personal, in the sense of people, one, can feel like, I can talk to you, I can, send you my concerns. And also too, just to know, okay, well, like right now there's a legislative session, right? I mean, there might be some people that might say, okay, well, when does that end? What happens?
Yes.
Just like with legislation, right? I mean, there's as many people that say we need to pass these bills, but there's just as many people that say if you don't pass anything, Sergio, it's okay because we already have enough laws in this state, right? And enough mandates. So,
It's true.
so
Maybe
it's a balance, but it's just a matter of, like I guess we mentioned earlier, right? Keeping people informed, right? And where we are in
Yes.
the process. And,
Being
you know,
connected.
unfortunately, right, sometimes time passes and, you know, you come back and you're like, hey, well, what happened the last 3 or 4 months, right? Where have you been? What have you been doing? And
I think we feel
so
like this whole year, and that
Yes.
was one of the reasons why we really, on the chamber side, we wanted to talk to our leaders, our leadership, and kind of get an idea of where things were, because part of it is like, we get a lot of questions about things, and we only know so much, and we were trying to make that connection so that they're hearing it from those that are advocating for us and that are still trying to get some answers. You guys, I think so much has changed, so much has evolved over the past year and a half now, and I don't think anything really has a clear cut definition or answer or solution. I think it's been an ongoing process, and you guys have done a great job of keeping us as informed as possible. But we wanted to take it, we wanted to have these moments to take it a step further and really kind of get that one-on-one feel that we were, that this platform's giving us, and so we appreciate that, and I think that if we can continue something like that, I know Giselle has brought this up to my
A
attention,
lot.
yeah, a couple of times, and it's
apparently he's barely listening.
yeah.
Oh, no,
No,
he's actually amazing.
we've been trying to definitely make it happen, but I kind of wanted to use this platform and this episode as to kind of highlight that and kind of set a tone for what we could possibly get going on a quarterly.
Yeah. Even see if there was like something that was doable. Like
Right.
like I said, you're very approachable. So if it wasn't or it is, like you would be very easy to like say so.
Yeah, no, but I think also too, just for the members and the community, it's always helpful, right? Because and even if it's, sometimes we think, well, we have to have some, script, and we have to sometimes, even if it's just an update, where we are, a couple of minutes, this is what we're doing, but at the end of the day, feel free to contact us. Here's our number, here's our email address. Any other concerns, things we can help with, let us know.
And that's huge.
Yep.
None of us expect answers if there isn't any, but we do want to feel connected. Like we really just want to know what's going on. What does it feel like? Like what direction does it look like? What is your opinion on it? What is your stance on it? Like whatever it is, because there are a lot of questions. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. It just is. Right.
Yeah,
So
no, and I think overall, unfortunately, when you look at politics, right? I mean, you look at sometimes even voter apathy, right? And people that look at it and they say, well, why am I going to get involved? It's not going to matter. Why this and that, and that's very unfortunate, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, everybody has a voice, everybody has a vote, everybody is important, and I mean, if even like you mentioned, right, engaging with the community more often, or doing these updates, well, at least make people feel more engaged or a part. Then I think that's a win as well.
yeah, it's a huge
But
one.
yes, it's creating that feeling, but we're actually doing it. You're actually doing it as one of our leaders and representatives. It's actually being you're making the time for that, and that goes a long way, because a lot of us, like, just not to be a broken record, but in a time of uncertainty, it just to know that we're all on the same page, and just to know that
We're
that
in it together. That feeling of we're in it together.
is very important these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
no, I
why
mean,
this started.
yeah, no, definitely. And I think, like you mentioned, right? I mean, even if it's some difficult moments or challenging times, right? But if people say, you know what, but at the end, we're all going to pull for one another, or we're all going to face it, and together, I think, that in itself too creates hope and a sense of unity, which, no
Yes.
better way than to bring our community together.
I love it. Okay, are you ready for some rapid fire?
Okay.
Okay, ready? What do you love eating for breakfast?
Actually, I'm not a big breakfast person.
That's not good for your brain.
I know, when I do, actually, I'm not a big breakfast person, but when I do eat breakfast, of course, I have to do the traditional papa con huevo with
Taquitos.
Mexican
yeah.
breakfast.
And then of course on Sundays barbacoa, right? Like
I
everybody.
gotta go for sure. No, for sure. There's this. I think there's a place in Mission called. Is it Yaya's or?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so it's always, the traditional tacos and of course the barbacoa on Sundays. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. What is your morning routine?
Yeah.
Especially during session.
During session, for example, like when I have committee, we start like about 8 o'clock. So it's basically just get up, get dressed, rush to the office, get our and my Surface Pro and go to a committee and make sure you're there on time for attendance.
Wow. Okay, so you don't give yourself like an hour to get like acclimated.
No, I mean, usually I try to do the preparation the day before, so that way in the morning I can just make sure I get there on time and all that. So
are you more of a night person, or more of like a night person than a morning person? A night
I think sometimes it's a cycle, right? Like sometimes it feels like it flips on me, not necessarily with a time change, but it's just I guess wherever we're at with it.
Yeah, that I can.
What? Okay, what was your last Netflix or Hulu binge?
Last Netflix.
Like, I don't have time for Netflix.
What's that?
I said
the Karate Kid.
Cobra Kai. Yeah.
Cobra Kai.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one. Okay.
There's a couple more that I need to like update myself with, but the last one that I guess I felt like I saw episode after episode was, I think, the Cobra.
Was that one? Okay, good to know. What is the last book that you read that you loved?
The last book that I read that I loved. That's a tough one. Would the legal my legal books count? Civil practice, civil procedure for court. Whenever using my other hat of and then of course the one that never fails that we also need to never forget is the House Rules
Manual.
Yeah, because this is this is what we operate on in terms of procedure on the House floor and bills, committees, and all that. So the combination.
I think I'm going to send you a few books just so that you can be outside of the legal field and do more personal development. Not that you need it. I think you're amazing, but it's so nice.
Reading, in terms of just being able to sit down and read an extended period of time is always going to be helpful.
Okay, so if you could read, like, would it be mystery, fiction, biography? Like, wouldn't you want to read like Obama's book that he just came out with? Like, that's what I'm reading tomorrow on my phone.
Actually, there's a book that just came out today that I want to read, and it's by John Boehner.
Oh yeah.
The House. I think I'm trying to remember the name of it. It just was released today.
There you go.
So I actually decided to download it on iBooks or one of those to see if I could start reading it. But something about the House, right? I think it's just I can't think of the name, but it was John Boehner. He was the speaker.
We're gonna put it on the link. We're gonna CJ's gonna find the book and he's gonna put the link underneath this so because people are they're gonna go, what book is that? I'm curious. Okay, so beach or mountain?
Beach.
Okay, steak or pasta?
Pasta.
Me too.
Same. I'm gonna go with that.
If you said steak, I was gonna say like I'm more of like a pizza cheeseburger kind of guy. So
Yeah. Okay, Well, there you go. Thank you so much for doing this.
No,
This
well,
is
thank
so
you very much
fun.
for having me. And yeah, I mean, if you all want to start doing some more often or just those quick updates, I mean, let us know and we'd be happy to be a part of it or to, maybe
I
bring some other colleagues together and do something jointly or whatever you all feel would be, you
I
know.
would I would absolutely love to put a calendar together like quarterly so that people could look forward to it, put it in their calendar, send us in questions so that like people are involved. They're
Yeah.
involved in it and we're able to it doesn't always have to be about like really serious
Yeah, it doesn't
issues. It
have to
could
be
literally
policy
be
or anything, but
fun questions to
Absolutely.
get to know the people that
like your
represent.
rapid fire, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. No,
those are my favorite.
I think that that makes such a difference in this day and age, especially from a elected official perspective, right? I think there's such a stigma. Of course, like you mentioned earlier, Rep, that everything, all the negative makes the forefront, right? All the negative makes the forefront. You guys are human beings, you still
Yes, with a
have
passion
favorite
to
foods.
serve.
Yeah, you and you guys do you have the same things that we all kind of do, and we just don't it's not the forefront. It's weird if you ask like the fun questions, and I think that that's cool that you lend yourself to be an open book, so to speak, and then at the same time too, keep us informed on what you're advocating for our area. And it's something that I think will go a really long way, not just for both of our offices, but the community will feel attached to something that I think will give them both insight and education. So I think
And
that's
they'll feel relatable to you instead of it being you're so far like
Yeah.
like unreachable. Like, oh, I watched that movie too. Oh, like I'm gonna read that book with
Whoever watched
him.
Cobra Kai, they're gonna be like, "Wow, I didn't know you
Yeah,
really like."
so I haven't seen it. Now I want to.
Absolutely. No, we really do appreciate you taking the time. We know you've got a busy schedule and we don't want to keep you. I know you're in between meetings, so thank you so very much for being here with us. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions regarding any of the things that we discussed today, please go ahead and contact us. And if you need to, we'll get you in contact with State Sergio Munoz office, Munoz Jr.'s office, and we'll follow up and see when we can get get the next conversation going with you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and for everybody that tuned in. And like I said, if we can be of service to you or to your family, please let us know, whether back in the district or here in Austin.
I appreciate that. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Mr. Zell,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much as always, and we'll see you guys.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.